All right, guys. So this is what I've been doing in between all the other stuff that's been going on in the world. If you wonder why I've been making videos, it's just life. Life is happening, and yeah, I'd love to be out here, but there's people in the hospital that are sick that need visiting. My dog passed. All kinds of stuff's been going on. So anyway, we're all healthy in my family, and that's good. I hope y'all's families are all good and healthy. So today I'm going to make a video on basically how to put these hubs in. There's a few videos on YouTube. I went and bought a manual basically, so I knew all the torque specs and everything. And you can see here, this one's pretty much done. I painted the calipers today, so they're still hanging over there. All I had was red, so yeah, I didn't want red, I wanted black, but I didn't have black like high heat temperature paint, so they'll be red. Although the wheels, you're not gonna see a whole lot of the red. Well, maybe a little bit, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get this thing on the ground rolling, but still got to put that front piece back on. But everything in this is brand new. All the bearings, all the races, cups, everything. It's all redone, repainted. These are new Warren locking hubs. And so yeah, I'm gonna kind of take you through how I did this and what it recommends in the book for torque specifications and how to do it, because it might be a little confusing if you watch a bunch of videos. Not that my video will be right, but I will tell you that this vehicle did not come with these front disc brakes, and I found out the hard way. I thought that maybe somebody had put 71, disc brakes, because in 1970 they had four-wheel drums. They didn't have disc brakes. Well, someone converted this. Well, when they did, they didn't use disc brakes off of this Blazer. They used one off of like an 85 Blazer, 84 through 86, I think, is the Blazer. Well, that also requires a little bit of modification to the calipers. And so there's a few things that had to be modified that I didn't realize when I was starting to put this back on, because I ordered parts for a 71, got them here, and they were all wrong. So it's taken a long time for me to get all the right parts, and because when you call and say, and you guys know how it is, you say, hey, I've got a 1970 Blazer, it's got disc brakes on the front, I'm gonna need this. And they're going, no, that's not a real thing. Okay, well, it's a 1971 Blazer. Okay, well, then they find the parts for that, and then the parts for that were wrong because this was an 85 setup, off an 85. So if you have an 85, this will be probably identical to what you've got. I say that. This backing plate may be a little bit different. I don't know what it's off of. We never did figure that out. But anyway, I've got everything, all my bearings greased up and everything. I need to pack that with grease. I've got all this done and cleaned, polished. There's the old set. You can see why I'm changing. It was rusted out. Water had gotten in there. It was pretty bad off. And so, yeah. So all new axles, all this stuff is pretty much new. I don't know what I've got several videos that I'm going to try to put together here. So I don't know exactly. If I repeat some things, you'll know that, today is like the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. And so those videos are older. It's been like a couple weeks ago that I did those videos, and I'm going to probably collaborate them together, splice them together. Anyway, I had these turned. They were, quick story, these are probably not original, but they were from Canada. Really nice ones. Says on here, made in Canada. They're probably, like I said, not original, but they were really heavy duty, nice ones. And the minimum thickness on this is 1.215. So it's an inch and 215 thousandths. So I took it down to O'Reilly's, which I always use, never had a problem with them before. And I had painted these before I took them. Well, I didn't mask this off because I knew they were gonna turn them. So it's like, okay, well, the paint will just flake right off. It's just rattle can paint, So took them in and Had them all painted up real nice. And as soon as I bring them in, the guy sets one down and he just throws the other one on top of this one. And I'm like, damn, dude, I just painted those. And then, you know, he's like, okay, so what do you need? Let me check them, whatever. He's like, oh, yeah, these got a lot of meat on them. These would be perfect. These would be fine, okay. But I already checked. It had one groove in one side that was probably about 2,000 to 3 thousandths deep. Best I could tell with my calipers. Somewhere in that area. So I leave him with him. It's like 11 o'clock, and I said, what do you think, a couple hours? He's like, yeah, a couple hours be fine. And so I call back at like 2 o'clock, and he's like, I hear the guy yell, hey, those rotors done? He's like, nope, still working on them. I'm like, holy crap, still working on them. So I just let it ride that until like, I don't know, 6 o'clock that night. Call back, and they're like, oh yeah, they're done. They've been done. It's like, we miscommunicated. They were working on someone else's rotors. You can come pick them up. I said, well, I'll come pick them up tomorrow. So the next day I go in and I get them. It looks like a record. If you've ever seen one of those old vinyl records, it was just like these little bumps all the way across it. Like they ran the feed too fast on the cut. And so I'm looking at them and I'm running my fingers and I can feel them with my fingernails. And I'm like, what the hell? And even on one side of them, they were deep grooves, like maybe the insert broke or something. And I was like, this kid was in there probably, I don't know, 25, 26. And he's the one that turned them. And I said, what's up with this? And he's like, man, he said, that paint that you put on there, he said it was messing with, he said, normally I take 5 thousandths off. He said, I could only take 3 off. And I said, I was a machinist for 13 years. I was like, okay, so hold on a second. You're telling me that you cut these down on this brake lathe and the paint messed with the way this was cutting? He said, yes. I said, seriously? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so once you got the paint off, because I'm playing the game now, I already know he's lying to me. Like, you're playing, so I'm playing the game. I said, so once you got the initial paint cut off of it, then what? He said, well, they were hard to cut. Like I said, I could only cut 3 thousandths at a time off. They were really, really hard. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking in my mind, yeah, it's possible that they were that hard. Because and they're old and you've got the heat and cool cycles and all that, so they're probably work hardened, but that's what the brake lathe does, is cut all that off. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, these don't seem like they're gonna be good. They're gonna wear out my pads pretty quick with all these grooves and stuff in them. And he's like, man, I can try to recut them if you want. And I'm at this point, I'm like, no. I said, so tell me how much you took off of them. He said, well, I took 3 thousandths at a time. I said, okay, you said that. And he said, well, I took 9 thousandths off. I'm like, all right, 9 thousandths. He said, off each side. I'm like, oh, so you've taken 18 thousandths off of these calipers, and they're still screwed up. I just looked at him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. And so I was pretty pissed, so I just left, because it's better for me not to say something when I'm pissed. So I just left with them, and I thought, I'll just take them somewhere else. I'll go back and get my money back from them, which I did. I called the manager, said, hey, they screwed my rotors up. I'm going to take them down the street to someone different. I didn't tell him that, but I did. Took them down, had them cut. Man, these are perfect. The guy said, yeah, no problem. Now, maybe that guy didn't have any problem because they already cut all the, hardness or whatever off of them. But, man, don't lie to me. You know what I mean? Just man up and say, man, these suckers were work hardened. They're some of the toughest rotors I've ever seen. We did our best. And I'm sorry, that's the best I can do or whatever. But I could tell, like I said, they fed them too fast. Either the speed was too slow or the feed was too fast, one or the other, and it just made little ripple lines across them. I don't know if they're in a hurry or what, but come on, man. Anyway, that's my kind of complaint. It's like, just tell the truth, I mean. So I ended up getting my money back and going down the street, and they cut them, but they said, hey, these are minimum now, so they'll not ever be able to cut again. Well, yeah, I bet they are, because the last guy took all the dang meat off of them. So how frustrating is that? Because those are nice. The ones you get today, You might find some good ones, but most of them are going to be made in like Taiwan, China, places like that. So ones like this that are made back in the day, it's probably a rare animal, but I don't know that to be fact. I'm just saying it's what I think, because most of these new rotors that I've changed on my truck outside, they'll warp after so long. A couple years, they start warping and they're done. And so it just seems like they're not made out of as good a material as they once were. I don't know if that's true or not. I could be completely wrong. Somebody out there can correct me. But anyway, frustrating deal. You go to a parts store, you get these high school kids or kids that are just out of high school. They don't know squat about vehicles. All they know is you give them the number, they put it in, and if they can find it, then you might get lucky and get the right part, and you might not. But if you have something that you put together like this, like if I walked in and said, I've got a 70 K5 Blazer with a 396 in it, their heads would explode. What? That doesn't even exist. Well, it does in my shop, you know, so anyway, a little frustrating, but anyway, we got it fixed, got it taken care of, so we're back to good. These are parts for the insides of the calipers. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and pack these up. I've already got the races in, as you can see, both sides, pressed new races in. Bought a kit for that, I highly suggest. It's pretty cheap. A lot of you guys probably already have it if you do this kind of stuff, but mine was this power built. I think it's a cheap set, but it worked perfectly. No problems at all. You can see I beat this one up pretty good, but other than that, it's still usable. So, but like I said, for 20 bucks or whatever I paid for them, not bad. All right, so get the grease over here. Don't want to forget my seal. The last one I forgot my seal, put the whole thing together, got it torqued down, locked down, everything done, and realized that the seal that goes in the back of it, I had forgot to put it in there. So I'd take the whole thing back out, redo the whole thing again, retorque it, reseal it. So I'm getting closer to being an expert at this now, because I mean, the more times you do it, right? All new bolts for my lug studs. So they want you to be pretty generous with this. I'm probably going to end up using almost the whole can between the two, but they want you to pack. They want you to pack all down in here, not only the race, but all down in here, all of this in here. So even this area in here, they want you to just pack that full of grease. Now, obviously, you don't want to pack up here with grease because this is going to go in there. So kind of keep it down in here off this upper area here. So anyway, I already packed the bearings. I think in one of the other videos I showed how I did that. I didn't know how to do that correctly, and Kevin knew how to do it, and he basically sent me a video of a guy doing it. And basically you take it and put it in your hand and you sit and just pack it in like that. And I think that I probably put some of that in this video, so you'll know what I'm talking about. You've probably already seen it at this point. I know when I took these apart, there was so much grease in these. I literally had to take a paper towel and just clean it out, wads of it out. They'd had just packed so much in there, which that's good. Probably speed some of this up. It'll be boring to sit and watch me do this. All right, that ought to be good for that. I go grab the bearings while I've got my greasy glove on. I packed these up some time ago, so I covered them up so dust and stuff wouldn't fall in them. So this side I think is the smaller of the two, and it is. And that's probably not going to stay in there now that I did that. Probably pull that back. Let's see if it holds. It probably won't because I've got a beat down on that, so that's probably not going to hold in there. But if it falls out, it's no big deal. All right. I just got grease in the seal area, like I just said don't do. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, so here's the seal. Should have my little tool here ready to go, and I don't. Maybe just below flush, but pretty much flush is good. You want to make sure that thing's going in even, and you can see it's not. It's trying to go down this side faster. So I was also told you don't want to really hit this on the side like that because it could dent it. So there we go. I think that will work. And the bearing stayed in there. That's surprising. I guess that grease did better than I thought holding it. All right, so there's that. That's how it goes. Okay. Dang, I forgot. It's been a couple of days and I've already forgot how this sucker went on. That's right, because now these guys seat in here and come through the other side. So yeah. Now, if you see me turning on these, I'm trying to kind of find where the old splines actually went in. I'm not trying to make new ones. So that feels pretty good. Feels like it might have dropped in there a little bit. Hear it. You can hear it when it finds this area. When it bottoms out, I should say. And that bearing still didn't fall out of there. That's good. So the seal is in this time. That will save me from, this is the seal I left out I was telling you about. That'll save me a lot of headache. Let me clean that. It's been sitting out for a little bit. Let me clean that off real quick with some isopropyl. What do I do with my isopropyl? How about this? I'll just use brake cleaner. Get the dust off of it from sitting. There it goes. There she goes. All right, just that back up in there. All right. Good. Yeah, think about it. I probably should have put some grease on the shaft itself. It's got some now, don't it? Let me get some more. I'm not sure you can put too much grease on this. Maybe you can, but all right, let's do this thing here. So what I'm going to show you how to do is this is a Dana 44. We're going to put this setup here with the washer and everything. This little pin here goes into like that. Actually, this little guy right here will fit in a groove that's in there, and it'll actually fit more like that, basically. And then this one will lock down on top of all of it. And I'm gonna show you the process on how to do that, or at least the process for this one. Now this is a 70 K5 Blazer, but they've switched it over. This is like an 85 model Blazer setup. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if they're all the same or not, but so got my bearings in there, got everything packed in, everything's good. So Here we go. We'll put this in, make sure your pin's facing out. Get it started. Now, if you get a book for yours, I'd go by what your book says, because this is a, you know, somebody just kind of did this, which I'm glad they did, because I like having disc brakes on the front. But because they did it, I didn't know what year it was, so I had to look up all the parts that they had put on here, cross-reference, go through all the stuff and figure out what year it come off of, which again come off of 84 through 86 or something like that. I could be wrong, but it's 85 is what I ordered my calipers for and all that kind of stuff, and everything worked on the other side. So I actually had to carve a notch off the back of the brake caliper to get it to work, but it did work. All right, so that's in there hand tight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna torque that down to 50 foot-pounds. That's what it calls for. Now you wanna be careful when you're doing this, because you don't want this thing right here to catch on that pin. If it slips off there, it'll bust that pin off. Ask me how I know. That one's brand new. I had to buy another one because it busted the pin off. So if you think you're the only person in the universe that has bad stuff go wrong, you're not. It's me and you. Only me and you probably, but me and you. All right, so I've got this set right now at 50 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna come in here and find my little grooves, pop it in there, and go to 50 foot-pounds. You definitely don't want that to slide out of there, because that's how I broke that pin. So make sure you're staying in your grooves. It's just bad luck. All right, that's 50 foot-pounds. So I'm going to turn this the other way and I'm going to loosen it. Back off. Okay, now I'm going to reset this to 35 foot-pounds. So we're at 50, 45, 40, 35. It's 35 foot-pounds. So what it says now, get that locked in, is to spin this. When I had that at 50 foot-pounds, it wouldn't turn. I didn't show you that, but it wouldn't turn. So now what I'm going to do is go to 35 foot-pounds while I'm turning this at the same time. It's a little bit tricky, but you can do it. There it goes. Just kind of going a little bit at a time, spinning it. It's supposed to help seat the bearing. Okay, that's 35. Now what you want to do, turn it back the other way. You're going to loosen it. What you're going to do is you're going to clock this at 12 o'clock, straight up. So find your little grooves again. comes straight o'clock, 12 o'clock straight up. All right, that's a little past. That's okay, we'll go a little less then. So I'm gonna come 1/4 turn down. All right. Right. Just above horizontal. That should be exactly what I'm after. No play back and forth. Spins fairly freely. Okay, so now I see my pin is down there. My groove is over here. So what you're gonna do is take this and you want it as close to wherever it's at right now as possible. And so I'll slide this into the groove. Let me find the groove. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna come in here and it lined up exactly. Now I'm lucky, but had that not happen, what I would do is take me a little angled pick and go back, and whichever hole it's closest to, I would go to that hole. So if it's the top, if it's the hole up there, I go up to it. If it's the hole down here, I go to it. It just happened to work out perfectly right there. So now what you're gonna do, see which way this bad boy looks like it was facing that way. You're gonna go ahead and put the outside lock nut on. The one that locks the two down together. Run it all the way down there. All right. Now you're gonna lock that. According to my book, it's 175 foot-pounds. Now that's a lot. That's what my book calls for, so that's what we're gonna do. So I got quite a ways to go here. Right there, 175. Lock it into place. I'm gonna have to kind of stand up for this one because it's gonna be rough. Golly. That's it. 175. Always unlock these, and undo these all the way back so your spring doesn't stay tensioned. You don't want to keep these in your. You guys already know that. Just throwing that out for newbies. I always back it all the way below. That way that spring doesn't stay squashed in there and they stay more accurate. All right, so that's done. Now, take our locking horn hub. There's the top part of it. Here's your inner part. And so, basically, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I don't think I am. That's locked, okay. So basically this just slides in there. Now I had problems with the other side, and it would do just what this one's trying to do. It didn't want to like line up just right. So what I ended up having to do is kind of spin my whole deal a little bit and work it until you figure out where it's happy. Where a little bit forward on the other side was the same way. You can sit and mess with this and mess with it, but right there's what you want. And you see how it goes all the way in there? So next thing you're gonna do is take your pin and pop it down in there and set it into that groove. And that pops in there real easy. Really easier than I want, but it is what it is. All right, so I'll show you how this works, if you don't know. So when this pushes in, it engages and locks in. Like right now, it's free spinning. When you push that in, it engages that to where now it locks. So now you're being full-wheel drive. So then when you disengage it, it pops back out like that, and then you're in freewheel again. So you're rolling with your back, you're powering from your back wheels. So ultimately, all this thing does is spin and press this down. So that's basically how that works. So got a gasket here. I might put just a little bit of grease around that just so it doesn't try to screw up on me. There's all your little screws for the outside. This you won't need, at least on my application. You might on a different application, but on mine you don't. So I'll put that back in the box. So yeah, and then this, just get it up in there and line it up, get it started. I'm gonna get another one started down here. That way I know it's lined up good. Actually, I just about forgot. I put fluid film on these because you can see that one rusted out real bad on the other side. I put fluid film on the bolts. That's what I'm gonna do on this. I about forgot. Getting ahead of myself. Ugh. So, just gonna spray a little bit on each one of these bolts, a little bit up in on the holes here. That'll help keep some of that moisture out of there. Same with this one. All right, go ahead and do the rest of these. All right, so all the nuts or all the bolts are started. And you can see, clean all this off. You can just press that right on up in there, just like that. Really nice, really looks good. I take this. These have got to be torqued to 25 inch-pounds. So I just hand tighten them real quick. I do it just like a tire. Same deal. Or just like a wheel, I should say, not a tire. You don't torque tire nuts. No such thing. You guys gotta know what I'm thinking. I mean, you gotta be able to read my mind. I mean, just the way it works with me. All right. All right, I'm gonna snug them just a tad. All right, now we come down to the 25 foot-pounds. You see how that spins now? No play. It's gonna be all good. So, get this little bad boy out. And I gotta grab my little wrench that goes with this. Or not wrench, but my end, which I thought had with it. Turn this on. It's already set to 25 inch-pounds. Yep, there it is. Already set up from this side, which that's what it's gonna look like when you're all done, minus the wheel. So same with this, you're gonna torque this down. So the way I do this is I go till it beeps, and that'll only be about 20 foot-pounds. And I'll do each one of them to about 20 foot-pounds. And you gotta be careful because these are really small. $17, $18, $19. Okay, now it's just starting to beep. $13, $14, $15, $16, $17. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to 25 foot-pounds, and This will tell you when you're there, basically. So I'm gonna go here, 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 and that's what I'm gonna try to do if I can remember right. See how they're going all the way up? Right there, when it hits red, you're 25 foot-pounds. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right. That's how you do that. Or at least that's how I do that. You can do it however you want. But that's what we're looking for. So now we've got the caliper all painted up pretty. Got these all greased up with some of the silicone dielectric vacuum blah 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 grease. Got that all put in there. And so yeah, this is how this works. This always goes up. Oh hell, I gotta put the put the pads in, which is real easy. Pretty self-explanatory. So this pad will fit basically like that, but you got to have this little dude here to hold it, kind of hold it in place. It kind of holds it in, it kind of doesn't, but once you go around the rotor, it'll hold it in place. So there's an extra one. So let me remember how this works. Did it go like this? I think if I remember right, it went like that. If not, I'll flip it over. It just goes just like that. And that's gonna go there. And then you're just gonna pop that right in like that. You take this side, it doesn't have any of that, and it goes right there like that. All right, so now I just grab a hold of it from this inside area here. Make sure this is up. And then it just sits right in there like that. Easy enough. Take these little guys, line up the hole, and that's it. This little guy here, line up the hole, and that's it. Now I still have to, what I'm gonna do once I'm done with all this is put my new master cylinder on and force all the old crap out. I've already drained it, gravity drained it, but I'd like to press some more out. So right same way. There you go. Try to get all that old nasty stuff out of there. It's been in there for probably 40 plus years. And so yeah, that just fits right in there. You got a brass washer that'll go on the outside and sandwich in between these two. Don't forget to do that. Otherwise, again, some leaky issues. Sure, these are supposed to be probably torqued to a certain foot poundage, but I don't. I never have. I've always just done it till it's tight, like that, and that. That was probably, I don't know. I need to have my arms calibrated, see what they say. There you go. That's the setup. That's what I wanted to show you. Another tip, always take the batteries out of these. Do not let them stay in there when you're done with them, because the batteries will corrode and it will destroy your tool. Again, ask me how I know. It's amazing how much stuff I've learned by doing shit the wrong way. So yeah, just take your batteries out, and this will save you a lot of headache in the long run, especially if you don't use it that often, because I don't use this little guy that often. So put it back in there, take your batteries, done deal. There's the box for my other one. Again, make sure it's all the way down. Just like that. Here's my book that gave me all my torque specs. All right, that's probably going to be it for me on this one. I just want to show that because I haven't seen anybody else showing that. Well, actually, I've seen one guy, but it may be different for each one. I don't know, but that right there worked for me, and that's the way the book said to do it. So if that helps you out, good. And if it doesn't, then you gotta figure out something different, right? So time to pick up the tools, get rid of all the trash. And actually, so she's got new axles, new everything. I've got my cover back on, torque to spec, 23 foot-pounds. Need to put my bar back up in there, but I'm probably gonna have to put the wheels back on before I do that because the springs are in the way right now. So pick these old pieces up. I'm probably gonna save them just because. I don't know why. Probably should throw them away, but I usually don't. There's that other deal I didn't use. Those are extras. There you go. What is this? Rethreading taps. All right. So, hope you guys, I don't even know what today is. It's Tuesday. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I know crazy things going on out in the world right now. And I hope it's not affecting you. Let's see, that doesn't go right there. It goes, where does it go? Where do you go? This is a 7/64. Right in front of my face. 7/64. Here's my bit adapter. Where the heck are you? They could be up in here. Well, take you along for this. 764s, where are you? There's one that says 764, so I already got one in it. All right, well, I'll leave it at that. See you guys.